to the kill count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Scream 6, released in 2020. Scream 6 takes Ghostface to uncharted territory, the streets of New York City. We follow our survivors from the previous film as they navigate college, young love, and of course, another Ghostface. Scream has long been the rare horror franchise that relies on continuity of its protagonists rather than its villains. Scream 6 continues that trend with the new characters, who were enjoyable in Scream 5, but didn't always have a whole lot to do. It helps that returning screenwriters James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick were able to better tailor the characters to their actors based on their previous performances. The new crew is also able to make a name for themselves since there's a lessened focus on Scream's legacy characters. Gale Weathers is still running around, but Dewey's not for obvious reasons, and for unfortunate reasons, Sydney ain't here either. Without those three taking up significant screen time, the core four of Woodsboro really gets a chance to shine. The new location and focus on new characters are accompanied by a tonal shift as well. Returning directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette of Radio Silence said they wanted to make Scream 6 a secret action movie. They heard the complaints about there not being any chase scenes in Scream 5, so they delivered a heap of them here, all choreographed spectacularly and full of suspense. You can really feel the influence of other horror action sequels like Aliens and the urban set Predator 2. Despite Scream 6 being the most unique film of the series, it still maintains the franchise's self-awareness we know and love. It echoes Scream 2 in a lot of ways, appropriate since Scream 5 often rehashed the first film, and features more continuity check marks for the series than ever before, with multiple detailed walks down memory lane. As with Scream 5, I can't be objective about this movie since it was made by my friends. Chelsea and I even have a special thanks in the credits. But I honestly believe Scream 6 continues the trend of there being no such thing as a bad Scream film. Will Ghostface... Trouble!
That's hard.
Oh no! Editor Sarah!
You didn't see nothing.
Fiona? Wow, the Ghostface costume really adds a few inches.
Oh man, how'd you know it was me?
Dude, I can smell you. You've been rocking the same fragrance since you started here.
Damn it! The bottle's just so big it takes forever to get through.
I've been there, but what you need is today's sponsor, Scentbird. Scentbird is a monthly subscription that lets you choose up.
So...
The movie begins, as always, with a phone call, but this time it's at a trendy New York restaurant. College professor Laura Crane is waiting for a date here at Maybe Dorsia. She's played by Samara Weaving, a 4-time kill count vet who previously worked with Radio Silence on Ready or Not. I loved seeing her cast in a Scream movie, then got so sad when I realized it was for the opening scene. Laura teaches a class about slashers and is immediately endearing as a self-aware film nerd.
Out of those cliches comes an opportunity for outsider art. A voice for the voiceless, you might say. Jesus.
It's also great that Weaving gets to speak in her native Australian accent here. I don't hear that from her a lot. Her date Reggie babbles on, claiming to be lost, so she walks outside to give him directions. Ironic, since Reggie's picture is one of the men directing her, Matt Bettinelli-Olpin. The increasingly suspicious date lures her towards an alleyway, looking for the restaurant by color.
I'm not seeing anything red here.
You sure, dude? Cause Scarlett's standing right there. With a click of a voice changer, Roger L. Jackson returns to growl again.
The worst part is, you teach a class about slashers, and you still walked into a dark alley.
Just like her psycho namesake, Laura Crane is given an early out when Ghostface leaps out to gut her like a catfish. It's a seriously brutal stabbing, helped along by Weaving's always impressive banshee scream. Ghostface ends the kill with a quip.
Now I see something red.
And ushers in a title car. Wait, what? Hold up, the movie's still going. Are we supposed to be seeing this? Yo, what? I don't think we're supposed to be seeing this! In an awesome twist on the formula, we see Ghostface's identity right away as he packs up his suit like he's Spider-Man, or like he's his hero, Spider-Man. This is Jason Carvey, one of Laura's film students and a classmate of Tara's at the fictional Blackmore University. Tara's costume here is a reference to Radio Silence's segment in VHS. Her pirate is paired with a nanny cam and a marine, just like their costumes in that delightful short. Jason is a horror film bro, rocking a shirt with a Mario Bava title on it and living in a dope apartment decked out with everything from Hitchcock to Ice 9 Kills. He keeps a closet shrine devoted to his favorite series, Stab, which is probably why he took pleasure killing his film professor.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Not that one.
Jason watches his namesake take Manhattan and checks in with Greg, his partner in crime and also possibly in romance. The two of them plan on killing the Carpenter sisters in honor of Richie Kirsch, who helped mastermind the last movie's massacre. For practice, Jason killed Laura ahead of schedule, but for some reason, Greg doesn't seem to mind.
I'm not mad, Jason.
Dude, we said we wouldn't use the voice on each other.
Probably because this isn't Greg at all, since Jason finds Greg pulling a Mrs.
we said we
Voorhees all
wouldn't-
dismembered in the fridge.
Said we
It's a
wouldn't
big
use the
boost in
voice on
gore
each
for the
other.
franchise. Jason follows in his dead friend's footsteps when he gets Gray done in by a backstab, followed by more than 10 stabs to the stomach that leave his guts hanging out. Holy shit. The movie's actual Ghostface doesn't care about horror movies, but is still courteous enough to deliver us a title card. There it is. It's Hollow Weekend in the Big Apple, and Sam's spending it with Dr. Stone, the world's worst therapist. He's played by Henry Czerny, another Ready or Not alum. Despite seeing him for a year, Sam only reveals her bonkers backstory now with a recap of the previous film.
Well, I stabbed him 22 times and slit his throat.
The reveal of this violence rocks Stone to the core, with Sam seeming to relish the revenge.
It felt right.
The doc declares her case mission
Yo, what's good, Dark
impossible,
Shadow?
saying
Love you
she's
too,
a
man.
clear and present danger to herself and others. Sam returns home to her wall of locks, having learned a lesson in safety just like Scream 3's Sidney Prescott. Sidney Presslocks! She inadvertently
Yo, Chad, are we watching Saw?
interrupts her roommate Quinn in the middle of her latest lovemaking.
Is that Paul?
Tara also lives here, but right now she's out monster mashing at a frat party. It's actually a Greek life mixer between Omega Beta Zeta and Omega Kappa Beta, which were Cece's sorority and Derek's fraternity in Scream 2. A party scene's the perfect place to meet a new friend group, so here's Mindy's new girlfriend Annika and Chad's new roommate Ethan. Tara makes a new friend too.
I'm Frankie.
Frankie say relax with him upstairs in his room, but before a tipsy Tara can show him her Sunday undies, Chad intervenes on her behalf. The situation escalates and Sam shows up out of nowhere, then shuts it down by tasing Frankie's furter. Tara is pissed at Sam for always being so overprotective.
You're out of my life for 5 years, and then you can't leave me alone for 5 minutes.
She doesn't want to let the last movie's events define her for the rest of her life.
I'm gonna keep going to college, I'm gonna get my degree, and I'm gonna live my life. My life.
Unfortunately for Sam, she's not given a choice in that matter, as illustrated by a drive-by soda soaking.
Murderer!
Sam's status as a junior Loomis has made her the target of online rumors. They accuse her of being the real Woodsboro murderer, like her dad was, and framing Richie and Amber. Fucking Reddit. Back at the apartment, Sam's all broody until she sees her booty call Danny Brackett, named after the Halloween character Annie Brackett. Danny lives in an apartment across the way from Sam's and has been her hush-hush hookup for a while. Better that than a relationship that hasn't even started yet. Looking at you, Chad and Tara, in this romance I did not predict. Their first pass gets up with a block by Quinn, the positive whisperer.
Stop saying
Oh, sorry. Chad leaves, but don't worry, man. Tara gonna get you. Everyone gathers for a cast meeting since news just broke about the murders from the opening. Tara doesn't think it has anything to do with them, which is, you know, a bit too optimistic. Especially since they get a call from the ghost face with the most bass.
Hello, Samantha.
Ghostface says Jason and Greg had to die to clear the way for something more personal.
I'm going to show the world who you really are, a liar and a killer. I'm going to punish you, Sam.
He tries to cut in early, but he's defeated once again by a
what Scream
dastardly
is the best
bicycle.
Scream,
The one
though?
true weakness of Ghostfaces. The sisters run inside a bodega
many
that a
of
later
those
shot
sisters
shows is called Abe's Snake. It's a reference to Wes Craven's pseudonym when he directed adult films in the 1970s. The idea came from Ice Nine Kills' Spencer Charnas, who met Radio Silence at our wedding. Ghostface follows the Carpenters inside,
He's
where a
tapped.
customer says, "You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us." Ghostface aerates the guy right in the middle of the store, then murders a bald bodega boy who tries to butt in. A boomstick sends Ghostface in retreat. Shop smart. Shop Abe Snake. The owner tries to toss Tara keys, but he's ambushed by Ghostface, who steals his shotgun
How
and
you
finishes
lose
him
with a
off as he
shotgun,
cries for
bro?
help.
Wait. No.
Damn, that's cold. The bodega attack occurs early in the film to establish a new tone for a new city. While previous Screams had attacks in isolated houses, Scream 6 brings the danger to public spaces, where even crowds of people can't save you. The shift in tone matches a shift in camera lenses, courtesy of returning director of photography Brett Jukowitz. While every other Scream was shot on anamorphic lenses, Jukowitz shot Scream 6 on spherical lenses for a more gritty, realistic look. We get an excellent suspense sequence with some great suit performing from Ghostface here. The subtle movements really add to the tension. Tara and Sam are
somebody
forced
check
to
the
crawl their
rundown
way
on
to the
Scream
front of the
VR.
store, where they beat the Ghostess
We
with
can watch
Hostess
that?
by burying him beneath a snack rack. They escape right as the
What's up?
cops arrive, but
Somebody
Ghostface
check the rundown,
disappears,
somebody
leaving
smart.
only a mask behind. The sisters are questioned by Detective Bailey, who's actually the father of their roommate Quinn. He's a helicopter dad who transferred to the NYPD to watch over
Helicopter
Quinn
dad.
after the death of her brother. He says they found a Ghostface mask at Jason and Greg's apartment with DNA belonging to Richie Kirsch, one of the killers from Scream 5.
Yo, I was
It's a
able-
different
I was
mask
never
than the
able to
one
get
left
one of
at the
these
bodega
motherfucking
just
masks for
now.
Halloween
That
that
one
you
has
can pump the
DNA
blood
traces
through.
of Charlie Walker and Jill Roberts,
was
the
always
Ghostface
sold out.
killers from Scream 4. Speaking of Scream
Like
4,
skin
the
when you think of
FBI
yourself.
agent here to help is none other than Kirby Reed. Fuck yeah! Kirby survived her Scream 4 stabbing, as revealed in a Scream 5 Easter egg, and now she's here in the flesh to help her fellow Scream Queens.
We share a certain history.
Hayden Panettiere said she was nervous returning to the role since she was coming back from a 4-year break from acting. You did great, hey! Since she's technically a suspect, this Carpenter can't escape from New York, so she's stuck dealing with the police and media, including Gale Weathers wearing yet another prismatic pantsuit. Despite their bonding in the previous film, Gale is
House
once
of
again on the
Wax?
outs with our
Yo,
main
that movie
characters.
is
Nice
fucking
try,
creepy,
sweetie.
nigga.
But I've done this dance before.
Nice try, sweetie, but I've done this dance before. Bam! Down. Tara, super. Gale's getting her Scream 1 and also Scream 2 treatment here because it turns out she reverted to her dirt now writing habits with a book about Sam and her slasher daddy.
You called me unstable and a born killer.
Damn it, Gale, what happened to the Dewey book you promised? Where's the Dewey book, Gale? Gale takes a beat to address Sidney Prescott's absence.
She sends her love, but she's taking Mark and the kids someplace safe. She deserves to have her happy ending.
This is the first Scream film without Sidney, a result of Neve Campbell's frustration about being underpaid for her role in the franchise. I should stress that contract negotiations happen on the studio level and aren't made by the filmmakers, so don't blame radio silence. It's a bummer to not have Sid around, especially given the reason why. But even though she's my favorite final girl of all time, I also think it's great that our new protagonists get more space to inherit the series.
The cast kind of had the same vibe. It was like, let's just go make this one ours.
Dr. Stone settles in for a double feature of the OG invasion of the Body Snatchers and a couple of his favorite kill counts. Though he didn't return to Scream 6 for another cameo,
Yeah, have
Radio
you never seen
Silence
this
asked
movie?
us for props they could use as set deck. So we sent them this awesome VHS
Watch.
box made by talented fan
Did y'all
Wedge
see
Wolf of Dark
Oppenheimer?
Moon Home Video. Radio Silence did
Oppenheimer?
the same thing with other podcasts too. Posters can be seen for Last Podcast on the Left and our dear friends at We Hate Movies, including one in Tara's room, meaning she may have listened to us riff on Leprechauns 1 and 2 with the guys. There's an ominous rapping at Stone's door, which sends his TV into a fourth wall breaking frenzy. Turns out he is next, since Ghostface breaks his window to smash his noggin before finishing the doctor off with a sharp object through the nose. God, this Ghostface is mean. Another mask is left by his body, this one belonging to the killer from Scream 3, Roman Bridger, director.
I direct.
The detectives consult their Ghostface conspiracy board in a scene filled with tons of fun nods for fans of the franchise.
Roman Bridger was the only single ghost face. Kudos to him for ambition.
As Red Right Hand plays on the soundtrack, Mindy gathers everyone on campus to give a classic Meeks monologue for the people. Blackmore University is played by McGill University in Montreal, which is where the film was shot. Though it's set in New York, Scream 6 is actually the first film in the franchise to be filmed outside the US. Since they are on a college campus, the group theorizes they're in a rehash of Scream 2, Stab 2 for these folk. But Mindy has a different theory.
It would make sense if this were just a sequel. But we're not in a sequel because nobody just makes sequels anymore. We're in a franchise.
As she explains, there are certain rules to a movie franchise. The kills will be bigger and bloodier, the killers will be shiny and new, and the main characters might get killed, which they already warned was an aspect of requels in Scream 5, and an aspect of trilogy endings in Scream 3. But it also is the case here as well. It only took Jasmine Savoy Brown a day or two to memorize this many-page monologue, something she credits to her roots as a theater kid.
In this movie and the last one, everyone's just gathered around as I'm performing at them all day, and that's fun.
They decide that there's safety in numbers, so everyone holes up in the Carpenter apartment. While in the very
fuck
blurry
outta here,
background,
man.
you can see our horror short pregame playing on the TV. Like, no shit, that's Chelsea back there. So cool.
What?
Also cool is the fact that we get to just hang out with these characters for a
tough.
minute.
Little slumber party with the core 4.
Core 4?
Yeah.
Did you just give us a nickname?
For me, this scene was when the new cast officially took over the franchise, and I mean that as the highest compliment. The mood is soured by a news broadcast implicating Sam in the recent attacks. This conflict was meant to reflect a real-life struggle for Melissa Barrera, who suffered a lot of online harassment criticizing her acting in the previous film.
It just sucks being this hated.
Radio Silence confirmed that this scene is a response to that situation, which makes it even more touching when her Woodsboro buds say they have her back.
We are the core fucking folk.
Thank you very much.
I hate myself.
Right.
For the record, I thought Barrera did fine in Scream 5 and fucking crushes it in Scream 6. I think even her online haters came around to her performance here.
Melissa came to this one to prove something. And I think we all felt it from day one.
Drunk on friendship, Sam reveals that she's been sleeping with Danny, who's currently doing laundry when he spots a ghost face in Quinn's rear window. He tries to warn the Woodsboro crew, but they're too busy yucking it up until Quinn stumbles out of her bedroom with her throat slit to the bone. I guess the core four will never become a quintet. In the ensuing chaos, Tara and Chad lead the escape, but get locked outside the apartment before their friends can follow. Mindy takes a slice to the arm, but it's Annika who really gets the twist of the knife. Sam makes like Casey Becker and goes for the cutlery, but since someone has gotten rid of the knives, she settles for an attack of the block. They escape to Quinn's bedroom, where Mindy finds her sloppy seconds in the bathtub. The ladies barricade themselves inside, but Sam discovers their only way out is dangerously in the heights. Danny closes the gap with a ladder, kicking off another awesome action sequence as the women take turns shimmying across. Sam and Mindy manage to make it, but Ghostface interrupts Annika before she can cross. Despite their best efforts, they're unable to save her before she takes a Utopia fall to her death. Talk about a dumpster dive, right? Real talk though, she was fucked anyway. We all saw Ghostface literally gut her like a fish. Despite being present in the very first draft, the ladder sequence was initially cut over concerns it'd be too hard to film. They added it back in 2 weeks before production began because it was just that cool.
Let's stop chasing our tails and let's go shoot the fucking ladder. And, you know, once we did that whole thing and got there, we were like, right, this is dope for a reason.
Executive producer Ron Lynch helped find a real location that fit the needs of the script, which means those are actual stunt people actually crawling across an actual ladder 5 stories up. Stunt coordinator Alex Cadu kept everyone safe during the crazy sequence. Devin Dakota was eager to do the stunt herself, but had to defer to her stunt double, Leiko Farahi.
I love doing my own stunts. And I was like, no, put me on the harness. They said absolutely not. If something goes wrong, like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, okay, fair.
For the close-up shots of the actors, an exact replica of the building was built on a soundstage. And I mean exact. Production designer Michel Laliberté even matched the plaster of the bricks to the building's real exterior. Dakota got to fall about 10 feet onto a crash pad for the scene, getting pretty bruised up over the 2 weeks it took to shoot the sequence. I love that they didn't use a single green screen for this whole thing. The only digital effects were painting out the safety harness cables. The survivors recover from the attacks as Ethan arrives with a perfectly suspicious entrance.
Step the fuck back. You're at the top of my list.
I had econ.
The Carpenter sisters meet up with Detective Bailey, who's been taken off the case in light of his daughter's death. With his career opportunities limited and both his kids dead now, he pledges to go rogue and track the killer down.
You fuck with my family, you die.
They're soon joined by Gal and Kirby, who have a suitably prickly reunion.
When did they start letting children into the FBI?
I have a gun, Gail.
Gal's discovered something during her journalistic endeavors, an abandoned theater owned by Jason and Greg. This place is a straight-up stab cave, filled with way too many Easter eggs to cover in this kill count. Behind-the-scenes footage shows a lot more of the details. They filled this place up like Fiona and I decorating a kill count set. Some deep cuts include the Green Stab 3 mask from Scream 3, and a clapperboard suggesting Roman Bridger worked with Scream 5 and 6's DP, Brett Jukowitz. In-universe, this isn't just a shrine to the Stab franchise, but to all the murders that have taken place throughout the Scream series. Seriously, this place has everything.
TV that killed Stumacher.
If you believe he's dead.
Oh, don't even get me started on that one, Mindy. He's listed as dead on the police board in this film. There's no way he's been alive this whole time without anyone knowing about it. This theater was originally a warehouse, but was changed at the suggestion of La Liberté, which Gillette cites as an example of the film's collaborative set.
You just have to constantly remind yourself that the movie doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs to everybody, and that's how you make the best thing.
How many views y'all get? The fuck?
You invite other opinions, you invite collaboration into the process from day one.
La Liberté included more Scream Easter eggs throughout the movie, like blue Solo cups at the frat party to match the ones in Stumacher's kitchen, and giving Ethan a bag of Cheetos later on as a nod to Kenny the cameraman. They realized the ghost face masks left at the various crime scenes came from the centerpiece display of all the franchise's previous villains. Costume designer Avery Pluis designed the different looks of the masks and robes, cross-referencing her research with costumers on Etsy, since she knew they'd have paid attention to the details. One robe in particular stirs up memories for Sam.
Fuck no.
Fuck yes.
Skeet Ulrich returns as Ghost Daddy Billy Loomis, and he wants his daughter to go nuts for a second season of Murder. Tara's less excited to be back in the action, so Kirby chats with her about her near-death experience in Scream 4.
I almost died after I was stabbed.
I know, I counted you in my original episode. Don't worry though, fixed it in the recount.
Technically, I did die.
What?
For 4 minutes.
Oh, come on! Gail also attempts to be a person by talking to Sam about her relationship with Dewey, but the bonding is cut short by Bailey, who sends Gail home so they can do some ghost busting. With Sam and Tara acting as bait, the cops hope to trace their next killer phone call from a van in broad daylight. Yeah, this whole thing reeks of dead meeks. All it's missing is the B-boys blaring Cottonmouth Kings. But they don't need to worry, because when they do trace the call, they realize it's coming from Gail's apartment on the other side of the city. One record-setting sunset later, Gail is hanging out at home with her new boyfriend. She gets a homicidal house call, which is actually a first for the franchise.
Strange that you and I have never spoken on the phone.
Gail doesn't notice when her newy Dewey gets grabbed in the background. She does notice when he's heave-hoed through a bookcase like he were Sally Hardesty. His killer Ghostface gives us our first knife wipe of the film. Scream 6's Ghostface is a lot less clumsy than usual, thanks to superformer Max Laferriere, who also played the killer in that Terror Train remake I always forget was a thing. Laferriere is an actor turned stuntman, and the intensity he brings to Ghostface is a refreshing change of pace.
We love floppy Ghostface from the early movies that gets knocked down easily and gets right back up. But in this one, it was a little more like, what if he was a little more relentless, a little more driven, and just doesn't give a shit?
Gal Ghost faces off with the attacker in yet another inspired action sequence. Damn, they really brought it this film. She manages to arm herself with a gun from her bedroom, kicking off a game of Cougar and Mouse with Ghosty Rhodes.
What do you want to talk about?
This apartment invasion took 4 days to film, longer than any of the movie's other chase scenes. It was worth it for the action, and this moment when Gal hangs up on the killer.
Can you hold, please?
What?
Glad to see snarky Gal back, after she spent most of Scream 5 being sad about Dewey. Same. The rude phone etiquette earns her a couple of good stabs, and though she hits them with one of her many books and forces them to do a Jill Roberts, a glass shard to the gut puts Ghostface back on top. A crescendo in the score makes you think this could very well be the end of Gal Weathers, but she survives long enough for Tara and Sam to arrive guns a-blazing. Ghostface disappears as always, and dialogue confirms that Gal will avoid dancing in the darkness of death.
Got a weak pulse.
The survivors regroup in the building's lobby, where it's Danny's turn to make a suspicious entrance. They decide to set a trap back at the abandoned theater. They take the subway, but get separated at Platform 96, a reference to the original Scream's release year. Mindy is left behind with prime suspect Ethan, and to make matters worse, this Halloween crowd is filled with way too many ghost faces for comfort, including one voiced by the Lonely Island's Akiva Schaffer.
Sorry.
The subway is also paved with the ghosts of horror's past. We've got all the classics. There's Michael, Pinhead, Freddy, even Tara's fave, the Babadook. Other highlights include Ziggy Stardust, Grace from Radio Silence's Ready or Not, and Mojo Jojo, a nod to Roger L. Jackson's other most famous voice role. This rash of references continues the costume Easter eggs from earlier, where the frat party saw a guy in a Dan Flash's shirt. That's in honor of Detroit's own Tim Robinson and his sketch from I Think You Should Leave, since Robinson voiced Quinn's off-screen lover in her first scene.
Is that Paul?
Who the fuck is Paul? You also might have noticed Ethan's murder party outfit, as well as a Wednesday Addams in honor of Jenna Ortega's biggest role. Scream 6 was filmed before Wednesday was released, and when the show became a huge hit, Radio Silence actually cut down the visual references.
Oh, this feels weird now.
Yeah, this is like self-congratulatory.
Big props to Avery Pluis once again for making sure these outfits felt authentic, aka a little shitty.
I've had a lot of moments with my team where I'm like, this doesn't look like a costume that a real person would make. It looks like a costume that a costumer would make.
The subway sequence was one of the first ideas Busick and Vanderbilt had when returning to write this New York set sequel. But Montreal's subway system doesn't look anything like so production foot subway car from
some fucking grooves in your
scratch. To make the car look like it was moving, they installed 70-foot light strips outside the windows, then programmed them to run a chase sequence. The end result was a completely practical subway that the cast and crew compared to being on a motion simulator. Eventually, Mindy runs into the real killer. She's stabbed, but the sound of violence goes unnoticed on the busy train until Ethan spots her at the next stop. Fortunately, Mindy's got that plot armor ab routine, leaving the leftover alive to quip another day.
Fuck this franchise.
The rest of the group gets to the theater, which was running a Jennifer Jolie retrospective. Awesome. That woman was a shining light the world simply wasn't ready for. Danny won't be joining them inside the Promised Land since Sam's still leery from her last evil ex. He's cool about being benched for the finale though. Nice guy. Or is he?
Everybody's a suspect!
Inside, Sam sees Ghost Billy again, and he proves he ain't no jughead by giving some decent fatherly advice.
You're smarter than this, Sam. grab a weapon and clear this place yourself.
Might be a good idea in light of some new info from Detective Bailey.
They fired Kirby 2 months ago for being mentally unstable. She's no longer with the FBI.
She discovers their only exit is locked, so she rushes to find Tara and Chad, who have run off to get frisky like the horror movie teens they are. Their concession confession of love leads to their first kiss, but the smooching is cut short by the arrival of Ghostface. Another chase ensues, during which Chad just chucks a camera at the killer. Throwing shit at Ghostface is straight up a national pastime at this point. The heroes team up to make their concession stand, but the tides turn when a second slasher appears from the grassy knoll. The two Ghostfaces absolutely skewered Chad Makes Martin, stabbing him at least 11 times together. Tough luck, Tara. Your crush just became a pincushion. That synchronized knife wipe was pretty slick, though. The deadly duo was scared off by Kirby, who says she was in dreamland after being knocked out off screen. Detective Bailey also arrives, prompting a police standoff that ends when Bailey's revealed as this movie's copycat killer.
You?
Yeah, of course, me.
This wolf in cop's clothing and his accomplices gives us the franchise's first trio of killers. The next Ghostface revealed is Ethan, which is maybe a little obvious just by process of elimination. But hey, Jack Champion did a great job playing a nervous nice guy, and apparently had a great time on set.
It's so far the most fun I've had on a set. Sorry, James Cameron.
A little less obvious is the reveal of our third Ghostface.
Mindy?
No, it's not Mindy. It's Quinn, who might as well be speaking directly to the audience.
Literally thought this motherfucker was dead.
Because you died.
Yep, I gave her a kill count graphic and everything. I've got no way to justify it. I lied to you. Her supposed death felt too spoilery to give away, coming way earlier than Roman's fake out death in Scream 3. Their explanation on how they covered it up is a little unlikely to me.
I just made sure I was first on the scene so I could switch her body out with a fresh one.
But hey, at least we didn't see anyone check Quinn's pulse. Quinn reveals she's the one who started the rumors about Sam online, not because she believes them. No, this trio is simply out for revenge. Quinn and Ethan are both Bailey's kids, and their deceased third sibling was none other than Sam's ex.
You're Richie's family.
Yep, they're Richie's family! It's yet another way this movie echoes Scream 2, with the family of the previous film's killer coming for revenge.
Billy's mother.
Richie's family plans on pinning this new batch of murders on Sam, then killing her and making it look like she was murdered by an internet conspiracy theorist. You know, someone like Greg and Jason, who turns out didn't actually own this place. The stab exhibit was really curated by Richie. His dad Bailey just put the place under their names. An actual home video from Jack Quaid plays from the projector, spliced in with Richie's home movie version of Stab. Bailey may have the numbers advantage, but Sam melts his ego by shit-talking his son.
He was a man baby who made his girlfriend do all the killing.
I'm glad someone's given Amber the credit she deserves. They didn't even leave her mask at any crime scenes. Kirby arrives to even things out, but gets taken down by Ethan with Charlie's knife.
Recognize this?
Sam makes sure to get some payback before trying to escape with Tara on the theater's second floor. A gunshot makes Tara slip, and the fallout leaves her looking like Laurie Strode in Halloween Resurrection. With danger coming from above and below, Tara makes a callback to an earlier conversation.
You have to let me go. You have to let me go.
Sam finally decides to trust her sister and drops her down with a helping hand. Tara takes a stab from Ethan, but returns the favor by giving him a mouthful of steel. Yeesh, happy birthday to me, anybody? It's enough to throw Quinn off her game, which Sam exploits with pure ruthlessness.
Looks like you're down another brother.
Sam then adds Quinn to the kill count for real with a headshot. She doesn't have a bullet for Bailey, so they battle right over the banister. The fall knocks Bailey out, giving Sam a chance to go full Ghostface when he awakens.
Hello, Detective Bailey.
He's lured backstage, where Sam ambushes him with her now signature flurry of stabs. She stops short of finishing the job, determined to fight off her killer instinct, but a side eye from Tara convinces her to follow through and end this Bailey with a wonderful knife. Oh my god, right in the side eye! Sam, you're fucking wild. Dude's gonna need a whole bunch of family gravestones. As Richie's home movie comes to a close, Tara and Sam reaffirm their sisterly bond. They're treated to one last scare in the form of Ethan, but he's stopped by an injured Kirby, who sends him to meet his mocker with a TV to the head. Danny arrives with reinforcements, confirming his status as boyfriend, not boy foe. It's a happy ending all around, since Chad also survived getting wheeled out with that Dewey magic. The most common criticism I've seen of this movie is how many people survive. It's a valid criticism, but I don't personally mind most of it. Chad especially. I love Mason Gooding's performance, and the core four as a whole. I want to see them continue on. Like I said in the intro, Scream's always been about the surviving protagonists, and I'm happy for all of these characters to survive. I mean, I would would have been fine with Gale dying, but maybe executive producer Courtney Cox wasn't having that. Who knows? As for Chad, Radio Silence did have a cut with a more survivable attack, but ultimately they decided to prioritize the emotional impact of the scene. Besides, people have survived real-life attacks just as brutal. Look no further than the Slender Man incident. Sam briefly regards the ghost face of her father, but abandons it to join her sister. They walk out to Still Alive, a song written by Demi Lovato for the film. The music video features our friend Spencer from Ice 9 Kills and his lovely partner in Carnage, Nadia. As for Scream 6, the movie ends with a post-credits jab at post-credit scenes.
Not every movie needs a post-credit scene.
How many characters got sliced up and served to the count like a New York pizza? Let's find out and get to the numbers.
This was the only Scream that I didn't find boring.
The floor's under construction.
Besides, you know, the first.
Oh. Hey, thanks, disembodied hands. Yeah,
but
okay.
After the first, second, it's like, all right, series is pretty dog shit.
You made it!
13 people died in Scream 6, the most actual kills in the franchise if you exclude the fictional characters from Scream 4. The victims consisted of 10 men and 3 women, giving us this New York pizza pie. This exact count and gender breakdown has only been seen once before on this show, in Tales from the Hood 2. With the franchise's new longest runtime of 123 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 9.46 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill to Annika. The whole ladder sequence is an all-timer for the franchise, and it's topped off with gnarly gore when she hits that dumpster. Dual Machete for lamest kill will go to, Brooks, was it? An off-screen murder of a nothing character that Gale didn't even seem to care too much about. And that's it. Scream 6 came out in 2023 and had the biggest opening weekend of the franchise. Next week, we're starting another franchise with Hostel. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count.